Helicopter rescue planned for ship stranded in Antarctic. As the 74 people on a climate change research ship stuck in the ice in Antarctica readied for New Year's Eve festivities, authorities revealed plans to send in a rescue helicopter. The Russian flagged MV Akademik Chukovsky has not moved in a week since getting stuck in unusually thick ice on Christmas. The people on board say they were holding up fairly well. The group on this ship is incredibly collegiate, said Alok Ha, a science correspondent for the Guardian newspaper, told Anderson Cooper 360. There are a lot of skills and things people are sharing with each other. Chris Turney, an Australian professor of climate change at the University of New South Wales, said there are regular briefings on the status of rescue attempts, and in the meantime, people are doing what they can to keep busy. That includes yoga and Spanish classes, Joha and Turney said. Turney said it was raining hard Monday, and visibility was deteriorating. The forecast for the next 24 hours called for more of the same. Officials said a helicopter from a nearby Chinese ship will be used in the airlift, but rescuers must wait for conditions to improve. In preparation, crew members of the Akademik Chukovsky have marked a spot on the ice where the helicopter can land, the Australian Maritime Safety Authority said. The helicopter, which can transport 12 people each trip, will take the ship's 52 passengers, who include a research team and journalists, to the Chinese icebreaker. An Australian icebreaker, which tried unsuccessfully to reach the research vessel, will send a barge to pick them up. The 22 crew members of the Akademik Chukovsky will stay aboard, the Maritime Agency said. People are sort of seeing the end in sight and just keeping morale up. Turney told CNN. It's New Year's Eve tonight, so there are all sorts of plans. That includes the singing of an original song written by one of the passengers and dancing, Jaha said. And there may be good spirits, both emotional and alcoholic, Jaha and Turney said. The Akademik Chukovsky passengers said it wasn't a bad place to be stuck. The scenery is beautiful. Penguins have been walking up to the ship and sniffing around, checking out their new neighbors. Close, but no rescue. The expedition to gauge the effects of climate change on the region began on November 27. The second and current leg of the trip started on December 8 and was scheduled to conclude with a return to New Zealand on January 4. The vessel got stuck in the ice 15 15 days after setting out on the second edge. Turney said the ship was surrounded by ice up to nearly 10 feet thick. It was about 100 nautical miles east of the French base Dumont, which is about 1,500 nautical miles south of Hobart, Tasmania. On Christmas morning, the ship sent a satellite distress signal after conditions failed to clear. The Australian icebreaker Aurora Australis suspended efforts early Monday to reach the expedition because of bad weather. The ship got within 10 nautical miles but then turned back. The attempt by the Australian icebreaker followed one by the Snow Dragon, which was 6 nautical miles from the trapped vessel when it couldn't get any closer because of the ice. It returned to open water and remained in the area to provide support, said Andrea Hayward Maher, a spokeswoman for the Maritime Authority. Combe's last rites. Farewell to a travel icon. It's been a continuous production since the 1950s, but Volkswagen Brazil, the last country where the vehicle were still being made, ceased production of the classic Combi van today, the last day of 2013. Rolling off the production lines in Hanover, Germany until 1979, but continuing in Brazil. The VW Transporter, aka the camper van, is the longest produced model in automotive history according to Volkswagen. Around 3.5 million of the affordable utilitarian vehicles with their classic cloth window curtains have been made. Attaching themselves to the mini home on wheels were equally numerous roof racks, surfboards, and travel memories. On a backpacking trip to Europe back in 1973, a 20-year-old Californian named Gary Garfield shelled out $700 to set himself up for the months of travel ahead. He spent a chunk of that money on a 1967 Volkswagen minibus, wanting to combine transportation and accommodation in one slightly rickety but reliable vehicle. He ripped out the seats, put in a platform bed and inserted shelves and cupboards. Garfield spent the next 10 months in this mobile home with his wife, battling desert sands in Algeria, food poisoning in Tunisia, and enduring 6-week stints with no contact with friends or family. Similar stories were told by countless other travelers. VW is calling it quits because the Combi won't meet new safety standards set to come into force next year in Brazil. Upgrading the van with dual front airbags and anti-lock brakes was ruled too closely. Come next year, old combis sluggishly powering their way along highways and up mountain passes, being overtaken by virtual all other traffic will be all that remain. Aging steel bodies from the time when people were less concerned about getting somewhere fast. It's worth pursuing to reflect on what made the Combi a travel icon. Hippies and surfers. The Combi became synonymous in the 1960s and 1970s with hippies and surfers. Its utilitarian features, capable of carrying surfboards, musical equipment, and various loads inside or on its roof, combining well with its cheap price and easy maintenance. Garfield's van required the repair of one flat tire and a new battery in 10 months of travel. Many people name their combis like iReporter Jason Kaufman, 40, who affectionately called his combi Double D. I have no desire to own anything except an old VW, Kaufman insists. Other iReporter named their vans Bus, Hummer, Clara, and Charlotte. Vince Mollering, 32, explains, cars like the VW van are more than just cars. They are cultural icons. Those who traveled in one in their youth keep the memories with them. Others own their van or vans for decades before passing them to offspring. Even people without VW lineage, as iReporter Brian Scott calls it, can find themselves bitten by the urge to up and travel in a combi. Second Life Online. Online communities provide space to share stories and trade ideas that help keep our vans going, says Mollering. Australia's Combi Club is an online forum co-founded and sponsored by the Bus Stop, a parts distributor. Roy from the Bus Stop says the business supplies combi enthusiasts in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, South Africa, and Canada, and other countries. Once you've driven a combi, you are hooked for life, he says. But why? After all, these VW vans, at least in their original form, are underpowered, slow, have dodgy suspension, and don't offer much comfort in either heat or cold. The combi exemplifies the free spirits of peace activists, lovers, world travelers, campers, and families moving about together across this planet, says Garfield. Few vehicles scream, Let's go exploring, the way a VW van does, says Mollering. Modern modification. Simplicity has helped the combi remain relevant in a new century. It's undergone plenty of modifications, but its outward appearance remains instantly recognizable. The model produced in Brazil was based on the second phase of the Type 2. VW's Type 1 was the Beetle, which was produced in Germany from 1967 to 1979. It differed from the first phase, with a larger engine, greater weight, and a bay window, rather than the previous model's split windscreen. Numerous interpretations have brought speed and body width increases, automatic transmission, and an engine switch from air to water cooled. It's not a complicated machine, handy when something goes wrong. Combi owner Brian Scott says part of the VW's appeal to him was we'd always heard could be fixed anywhere and by anyone. Jason Kaufman says the combi's enduring appeal comes down to versatility. You can travel in it, sleep in it, gets decent fuel mileage, and it's very compact compared to large motorhomes. Vince Mallory applauded the combi as a jack of all trades, saying he's used it as a camper, a mountain bike hauler, a moving van, and a construction supply truck. German effectiveness. The versatility of a combi goes right back to its name, which comes from the German. A combination of passenger and cargo vehicle. Its ability to carry both passengers and piles of stuff has made the combi more than a mode of transport. The bus is both our home and a member of our family, says Brian Scott. We talk to it as we decide a path for each day, access it slowly over the next hill, and thank it as we arrive at each new destination. The vehicle is also a great conversation starter. VWs are like a language understood throughout the world, says Jason Kaufman. People in each country we visit love this bus. They stop to tell us their stories and ask to hear ours, says Scott. Devotion to the combi helps loyalists remain upbeat by the end of production. As long as enthusiastic owners keep the remaining cars and their spirit alive, the end of active production won't mean the end of the vehicle, says Mallory. When Gary Garfield completed his 1973 tour in the bus that had served him so reliably, he sold it for a $100 profit. Then he watched it drive away to offer its new owners fond memories. Even though the factory gates have shut, well-preserved combis will keep rumbling along the road and in the recollections of 63 years of travelers. Murder Most Foul, giant rubber duck burst in Taiwan. A giant yellow dog on display at Taiwan's Keelung port is finding little to be happy about this New Year's Day. The famed 18-meter inflatable art installation, created by Dutch artist Florentijn Hofman, burst and deflated on Tuesday, leaving locals shocked and disappointed. The dog's demise came only 11 days after it arrived in Keelung City Harbor, the latest in a multi-city Taiwan tour for the celebrity bird. There are multiple theories as to what led to the New Year's Eve tragedy. Murder was foul. According to Taiwan media report, one tourist claims she saw what looked like an eagle stretch the rubber duck with its talons. If that's indeed the case, jealousy could very well have been the motivation behind its unprovoked attack. Meanwhile, a meteorologist speculates an unseasonal dose of sunshine may have overheated the dog, distributing its internal pressure after weeks of cold, rainy conditions leading to its rupture. We want to apologize to the fans of the yellow rubber duck, said Keelung City Council speaker while addressing media. We haven't found the cause of the burst. We will carefully examine the dog to determine the cause. Photos of the damaged dog can be viewed on Chinese microblogging site Weibo. Fortunately for fans, the city says it plans to borrow another copy of the floating art installation, due to be installed by Saturday at the earliest. A turbulent past. Versions of the famous dog have previously taken up temporary residence in cities all over the world, including Beijing, Osaka, Sydney, São Paulo, and Amsterdam. After stirring up a craze in Hong Kong in May and June, followed by a 2-month stint in Beijing, the 18-meter inflatable duck arrived in Taiwan in September. It was docked at Kaohsiung City until October 20, before floating to Taoyuan. This is recent spot in Keelung in northern Taiwan. Tuesday's deflection is the latest in a string of unfortunate duck-related incidents. In May of 2013, Hong Kong's version of the giant duck mysteriously lost its mojo one night, leaving its deflated yellow shell bobbing lifelessly in Victoria Harbour. In late October, the Taoyuan version deflated land exploded during an attempt to re-inflate it. In 2009, during a port call in Belgium, it was stabbed 42 times by a vandal. We don't know why the person did it, artist Homsman said in an earlier interview with CNN. But brought the people of that town together. The community has had a stake out at night and protected it, and even the police looked after it. It shows that this piece of art means a lot to people in the dignity of this work. New Year's Eve, Dubai blasted all records in fireworks blitz. Yes, it's New Year's Eve again. Time to burst out the champagne and make resolutions you probably won't keep. But this year's different. Cities around the world were hosting some of the most amazing celebrations ever. Edible confetti raining over London. Check, how about 400,000 pyrotechnics exploding over Dubai? That's happened too. And let's not forget that the New Year also means bizarre new laws. Here's what people experience across the globe. Taste the rainbow. Why have a fireworks show that only looks good? Revelers in London stuck out their tongues during Tuesday's extravaganza and enjoyed banana-flavored confetti that was choreographed to the fireworks. They also saw floating oranges drifting through the night sky and popped them to enjoy a citrusy scent. Food artist Harry Parrer and Sam Bumpus working on the show for an entire year. They even made sure their edible treats were kosher, vegan, and hypoallergenic. We developed a special confetti that's actually biodegradable, and in the rain it will magically dissolve. Parrot said. Even better, it tastes amazing. Dubai goes big, really big. In Dubai, a city obsessed with superlatives, organizers pulled off the world records for the biggest fireworks display near the world's tallest building. The spectacular show featured 400,000 pyrotechnics over 400 parts of the Dubai shoreline. That's 100 kilometers of waterfront lighting up. The Guinness World Record. Staff later labeled it the largest ever. The show blew Kuwait's world record out of the water when last year it set off 77,000 fireworks over 64 minutes. Have a ball, an odd ball. Sure, New York has a massive sparkly ball they've been dropping for the past century or so. But what other objects can you relinquish to gravity to mark the New Year? In some U.S. cities, it's a fruit. In Honolulu, it's a colossal glowing pineapple. In Atlanta, it's a giant peach. The North Carolina mountain town of Brasstown prefers a possum slowly lowered and then set free. But Key West, Florida, takes the cake with its drag queen drop. For years, female impersonator Gary Sushi Marin has been lowered from the Bourbon street pub in Key West while riding in a massive high-heel shoe. It was inspired by Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, when it first came out with the whole high heel on top of the bus, said Joey Scarster, owner of the Birdbone Street Pub. I wanted to take that idea and do something fun on New Year's Eve. 25 hours of celebrations. Samoa and American Samoa are virtually neighbors, with just 101 miles between them, but they are also 25 hours apart. So one was among the first to ring in the new year, the other will among the last. How can this happen? That's just said the international date line isn't even close to a straight line. And because the date line isn't fixed by any international law or agreement, it can zig and zag to accommodate government and business interests. It's as close to a time machine as we'll probably get. Yes, to Placentas. No to shark fins. More than 40,000 new laws will take effect in the U.S. on New Year's Day, while Colorado's legislation of Marginuna has racked up plenty of headlines. Here are some of the more peculiar ones. In Oregon, mothers will be allowed to take their placentas home from the hospital. Some say placenta capsules can help with postpartum depression. CNN affiliate KGW reported, though there's not a lot of medical research backing that up. Delaware will join a growing number of states where you can't own, sell or distribute shark fins, which is considered a delicacy in some East Asian cuisine. And thousands of companies will have to provide calorie counts for products sold in vending machines. Because if you're going to a vending machine, clearly you care the most about calories, right? Depends on what day of the resolution you're on.